Hey there internet, Keev here, and welcome to the CARSWITHKEAV YouTube channel. And in this video, we're going over the Maxflow MX3. Now, when it comes to car washing and car detailing, I'm not completely sure if this is the unit for that, but that's what I want to prove out in this video. Now, is this just a product that we're going to want to use to clean our concrete, stuff like that? Because it says it can do 2,500. Well, it says the peak PSI is 2,500. It says the working PSI is 2,000. So we're talking like 2,000 PSI. But can we get the nozzles and bring the nozzle sizes up and allow the machine to adjust? And that way we can get both ends of the spectrum. We can get the high pressure with the lower nozzles and get the higher GPM with the bigger nozzles. That would be really nice. Now, if you watched my previous Maxflow video on the M Pro, you know that I nicknamed this R2D2 because it is very technologically advanced. We have the light bar, we have the adjustment, we have modes and everything, and there is no pressure switch. It uses firmware to do the ramp up, ramp down for how it stops and starts. I'm a very simple person, like on-off switches, but I do understand with the light bar and stuff, knowing what's going on, but also it will light orange and tell you if you need to make an oil change. You're gonna know, it's gonna tell you, it knows its actual hours. They give you a little bottle filler here, 15W40 oil, but the form factor is amazing. You see the size here, you have inlet and outlet on the side right here. You have your nozzle guard storage on that side. It weighs about 20 pounds, just the unit, about 23, 24 pounds with the wire. And it's a permanent magnet motor. So it's newer technology. So it's a crankshaft driven pump. So a lot like a car, you have your horsepower at the engine, only so much can translate to the real wheels. The more efficient the motor can be, the more power it can put out on a 15 amp circuit, because we're at the mercy of the 15 amp circuit. We can only do so much with it, but it is nice that they have both a unit only and another one. You say 50 bucks. If you already have your own hose, you already have your own stuff, then you don't have to get all of this not so great accessories. You have a foam blaster here. We all know this is basically the same one that came with the M Pro. It's not good. We know that. We have the longer gun here. Not my favorite. We can add an adapter here to make it shorter. That's probably what we'll do in the video to do our testing. That would be this adapter right here. It's an M22 14mm, which is what this is. And then it converts it to 1/4 inch quick disconnect. So in the end, you get this instead of this. It does come with a 25-foot 1/4 inch steel braided hose, which is really nice. I just wish that they would have just given you 40 foot and then you wouldn't have to worry about it. 40 foot would have been about right. But they also sell accessories on their website, which is, I mean, you're not going to give them the better stuff in the box if you're selling accessories. That just doesn't make business sense, right? So one thing I will say about those accessories, in my personal opinion, I don't really see anything from their accessory side that I myself would purchase. Now, me personally, I like steel braided. So if you're looking to upgrade and you can afford a Maxflow, I don't think the McKillens is out of your price range, but you can get the ones that already have the quick disconnects on them, or you can get the ones that are the M22 style, just like the ones that come with it. Just good quality. They come in gray and red, so you don't have to worry, it's not just red. They have a pretty nice upgrade kit that you can take to use both sides of your M22 hose. It allows you to convert that to a quick connect, but this is a push lock quick connect. So it gives you that ability to just push in without having to use your other hand. It gives you a couple of males as well. And you also get garden hose connectors. I don't have the garden hose connectors. I gave them to my neighbor to work on his pressure washer, so I don't have those. But it's a pretty decent kit, not cheap though. You just push in like that and disconnect. Quick connects are a lifesaver, but if you're looking to save some money, you don't necessarily need those. Now, when it comes to spray gun upgrades, I would say either the System ML or the Zebra Clean. This is sold out. Zebra Clean is more of an SGS 28 type. It has a quick trigger, an amazing swivel, push lock. The System ML does not come with a push lock, but this is a McKillen's one that I put on there. The feel is really good. Both amazing guns and both not expensive in the $40, $50 range. So my suggestion for a foam cannon is actually now it's the ADS foam cannon. I think it's about $45 or so on the Armor Detail Supply website. Code CARSWITHKEAV will save you 10% there to help save on that. But they cut the suction tube right. The weighted ball's nice. The bottle's nice, well balanced. So it's got a quick connect top. Just goes right in and then over. It has clickable settings here, clickable settings on the top, nice tension. And speaking of discounts, some really good news. Code CARSWITHKEAV which used to save you 10% at maxflowproducts.com, now saves you 15%. I was able to ask them to bring my commission down and my discount code up, but I did pay for everything in this video. I actually bought an M Pro as well to do a dual setup. Everybody wants to know if you can dual two Maxflows. We're gonna find out. Also, they made some updates to the M Pro that I'm gonna look to see between the two what has been changed. There's also a version 2 of the M Pro at some point coming down the road, and many other pressure washers. Now, I know in that last video on the M Pro, I was a little harsh in some areas, but you know what? That's what an honest review is. But I'll tell you what, Maxflow, they didn't get mad. I get emails from companies, CEOs, they get mad. I'm showing you in camera what's going on. They took the feedback and they're using that to help future products. They're talking to Matt Mormon, they're talking to Josh V, getting feedback on what can make it a much better product for the market. I do commend them for that. All right, we have that off of there so we can see the beauty of what's inside here. So here's your permanent magnet motor. And then here is your triplex pump. Now, this is kind of an enclosed system because the oil goes here. So the oil is on both the motor side and the pump side. But on here, at the top here, this is your breather. This is where you would put in your oil. Now the oil drain plug is right here. They actually give you an Allen wrench in here to be able to fit on there and take it off. Now the nozzles that come with are your 40, 25, 15, and 0 degree, and they are all labeled 1.5. So it's a pretty small nozzle size. Well, that's the overview of the MX3. Before we get any further, check the links below for anything in the video. Don't forget to check out those discount codes as well. Like, comment, subscribe. High points, if you feel I deserve them, you throw them away. If not, at the end of the video, I'll show you how to use your high points and a small creator that you can support. Let's have some fun. All right, so we have our little setup here. We have the hose that came with it, so it's N22, so it just goes right into the front here. Now, when you're using these hoses, it's always best, hook it up to the pressure washer and then walk the full length of the hose out, get every coil, every loop out of it, get it as unbound as possible. You're gonna thank me later. It's gonna be much easier to use your hose. Now, the other end of that hose is gonna go into your gun here, just like that. And at the end of this gun, that adapter I showed you earlier is on here. That does not change performance at all. Now on the input side, I have put an Ely Quick Connect. That's the male side. I have my Flexzilla 5/8" 50-foot swivel grip hose in gray. Yeah, gray looks way better, doesn't it? But I have my Ely sprayer right here. I put the Quick Connect female at the end because this is garden hose thread. And then we just connect that. Let's turn the water on, see if we have any leaks. I don't see any leaks. Now, 1/4" 25-foot hose is not going to take very long to purge the air out of unless your garden hose coming in needs to be purged. But for this, about 10 seconds, maybe 30 seconds total. Just make sure you got a good steady flow. And that's good. So I turn this around so you can see good old R2-D2 here. When you first start up, the mode that it's in is normal mode. And that's basically, it's going to stop and start based off of, letting go of the trigger. But it's going to be a little bit different. You're going to hear some weird sounds and stuff that it does its way of doing a stop and start versus a traditional pressure switch. Hold it down, turn it on. You see that color? That's the color of normal. And there's the noises. It's not loud. It is just, I don't know what it's trying to do. There we go, it's done. So now you see it's in green and it's full. That means it's in standby mode. Now, if we want to adjust the pressure, we can use this dial. As you can see how it's going down. See how it goes back to the full green bar? It should stay in whatever I want it to be. These are some of the quirks that they can fix pretty easily through firmware updates. I don't know if they're going to be able to, update yours, but the future models they can sell will fix that. That's one of the pet peeves I had from a previous video. Obviously, they did not improve that. Now, we're always going to run it on full. So we're going to put that all the way up there. That's where we want to be. Now, if we want to switch modes to a continuous mode, that's where the motor is going to run constant. We can hold this button down and hold down for 3 seconds and then let go before you hit 8 seconds. See the color change? And it just runs. And you might not mind that sound, and that gives you total power instantly each time you press the trigger. Versus when you do this, we go to this blue, which is back to normal. And now it takes this long to slowly let the motor shut off, like 10 seconds. Like that. Then we use it and watch how long it takes to ramp up. See? But the problem about continuous mode is if it goes for more than 5 minutes of not use, it goes into sleep mode. So then you have to go back to the unit and press the on off button to get it back.
Hey, don't shut off.
When it turns orange, you know when there's time to change your oil. When it's red, you know that there's an issue with something. That is nice to have for sure. But you don't watch out, R2-D2 here will freak out on you. Man, I hate guns that don't have a swivel because you have to rotate the gun to fix the hose. All right, so let's see what the pressure is just straight up with their white nozzle 1.5, full bore. So 14.6 amps, so we're at the limit of the amps. We're at the limit of that 15 amp circuit and what it's rated for. And we got exactly 2000 PSI. So like 2020 actually. So we got what we were looking for. And what is our voltage here? So that lets you know that maybe on your voltage, you might be able to get a little bit more. We're 116.5. So if you were on a 120 volt circuit, you might be closer to 14, a little over 14, and you're probably getting 2100 or maybe a little more. It just depends. My voltage is not the greatest in the world. All right, decibel reading. What I'm going to do is do it really close, and then we'll do it from about 6 feet away, see what the difference is. Ambient is 34. So we'll just do it right here. I'm going to shoot this way over here so the end of the nozzle doesn't get with this because this right here close to the meter is in the 80s. So we don't want that to influence here. That was 83 decibels from right here. And remember, that's close to the machine. That's not where you want to rate decibels. You want to rate decibels at least 6 feet away because you know this is going to be on the floor in the corner and you're not anywhere within usually 5 to 6 feet of it at any given time when you're working around the car. Maybe 15, 20% of the time. So we want to do it from a little bit further away, which is a little bit better of a distance. See what it's like. All right, I'm not in frame, but I'm 6 feet away. And let's try this out. All right, Maxflow, you received that feedback. I was pretty harsh in the last video about how loud that M Pro was. The screaming, the high pitch. We were in the high 80s, low 90s in decibel at times. And your box says 87, but we were at 79 decibels from 6 feet. We were at 82, 83 from right here. That is considerably better. And the sound is not that annoying high pitch. It's a much more pleasant sound. Sounds like a Jetsons car from the Jetsons cartoon, if you know what I'm talking about. Thanks for listening to feedback and correcting that. Hopefully the M Pro that I've got will have that same improvement. Very nice. Now what we're all here for, can we change nozzles and get lower pressure and higher GPM to get a little bit of both worlds? I'm worried that R2-D2 is a little too smart for himself here. We'll see. So we have a 2.5. We're going from the 1.5 to a 2.5. So we're going to go one full step up. Now, 2.5 is what normally would use on a regular, cheaper Ryobi or a Greenworks or a Karcher or something like that to get you into that close to 1000 PSI range. So 1100 PSI. Took a little bit to get there, but we were at 1100 PSI. The wall shows 1.29 gallons per minute. So I was hoping for more. We went from like 1.1, 1.15 with that stock nozzle to 1.3. So we did actually go up a good bit going from a 2.5. I didn't think we would have dropped that much in pressure though. So let's try a 3.5. We are not able to manipulate the machine to do kind of what we want. We went to a 3.5, but it dropped to 550 PSI. It was only measuring 5.5 amps and we were still at 1.29 gallons per minute. So R2-D2 here is too smart for himself, and maybe even how the pump is tuned and all that kind of stuff has made it to where we can't do that. And before we do that, I know somebody's going to ask the question, well, Kev, what happens if you run it with the stock nozzle and you turn down the power? Will it get you more gallons per minute? I can about guarantee it won't. This is just going to limit power to to what it's doing. We'll just do half. How about that? So as expected, we turned the power down at half. We got about half the PSI, a little bit more, about 1200 PSI, and our gallons per minute dropped to 0.9. We don't have as much power, so we can't get as much flow. So turning the dial isn't going to help at all. So let's see what the stock nozzles are up against the panel here. We'll try the 2.5 as well, but I don't really think we want to go below that because we went from the 2.5 to 3.5. We didn't gain flow. So if we don't gain flow, we're going to want to stay at 1100. We're not going to want to go down. Here we go. So we're at 2000 PSI, but it's not pushing me back. It's a very controlled amount. You saw the pattern is good. Now you're gonna say to yourself, well, if it's 2000 PSI, how are you able to get your finger that close? Remember, it's a 40-degree nozzle. It is spread out. Now, if you use it with a 15-degree, that's gonna concentrate all of that water flow into a smaller area with the same pressure. And I'm not putting my finger in front of this. So there may be a slight difference in the cut of the 15-degree. We're getting about 50 more PSI. We're getting 2100 PSI out of the 15-degree. This is the 2.5, which is, like I said, about 1100 PSI and about 1.3 gallons a minute. This 2.5, you saw how much calmer it was on the panel. That was a 25-degree. We're at 1.29 gallons a minute. Bucket test, probably 1.35. That's doable. If you wanted that higher pressure, you still want to be able to use this for car washing. That's what I would suggest. But I'm going to take the 15-degree outside and we're going to try to knock some mildew off of my back porch. See how quickly you can do that with the power that it has. Now, luckily, my garage window is right here next to this area right here. This area that gets hit by the rain. It's not under the covered part. I would say it's pretty good because I didn't get very close. If I had the wand extension on there and I was really close like this, very nice. Cleans pretty quick from close. So I gotta try our foam blaster here. You see with the shorter end here, I'm able to put the foam cannon a lot closer than with that really long wand that's on there. This is adjustable horizontal and vertical. I like it at vertical. I actually put 1 ounce of Incredible Suds in here, type 2. It's my favorite soap. Code CARSWITHKEAV will save you 10% at the House of Rags or DIY Detail on that, or KEAV10 at Car Supplies Warehouse. Just a really good cleaning, foaming soap. We use it in every video. I put 1 ounce in here and filled it up. So this gives this every opportunity to foam really well. But I think this is going to empty pretty quick too, because it only holds, what, 300 milliliters? Now that's the best we can do. And that's, like I said, with a crazy dilution, and look how much of that bottle got used up. I would not recommend this. If you got this, immediately go to an upgraded foam cannon. So here we get to see a difference in the rinse off between the two. So this is the stock 40-degree. This is the 2.5. from a flow perspective, I don't think the 2.5 shines quite as much as I would like it to, because it's not gaining a whole lot in flow. We're still only in the 1.3 range on flow. Now this is the Raincovo with a 1.35. Now the Raincovo is still my favorite. I suggest the ADS because of the issues people had with the cracking neck. Let me know, is this a vocal minority issue? Now, obviously, like I said, they sell a part online. There's got to be a problem. I haven't had a problem. Let me know in the comments if you have a Raincovo, if you had a problem. But for the price, I mean, this thing does so well. If it can't foam with this, I don't know, man. So the theory is, as the bigger I'm going, it's just like with the other nozzles, the performance wasn't there, and it works on higher pressure. So we're going to want a smaller diameter. There we go. So it makes sense. The 1.1 works the best. High pressure machine, low flow machine. It likes the smaller nozzles. So makes sense. If you had a 1.0 or a 0.9, it might be even better because it was only at 10 amps on the 1.1. So we definitely can go down some, but we definitely got the foam we were looking for on a 1.1. Stock high pressure. So this is a 2.5, but I didn't use the test nozzle because I wanted to compare the 40 degree of the 2.5 versus the 40 degree of theirs, because that, you know, did pretty well. It got the panel rinsed pretty quick. 1200 is where I don't want to go over 1200 or so. That's kind of my limit. But if you want to run 2000, you can. Just remember, if you got trim, rubber, or anything that could get lifted under high pressure, that's where you got to be worried about running high pressure. All right, time for the bucket test. This is just to confirm what we saw on the meter on the wall. It's usually a little bit more. This is the more accurate way of doing it, but with this machine, not so much, because it has such a long ramp up. I'm gonna have to look at the stopwatch and see how long it took, and then maybe go over a couple of seconds over a minute. So the bucket test, gallon of water weighs 8.34 pounds. So we just run for exactly 1 minute, and however many pounds are in the bucket, we divide that by 8.34, we get our gallons per minute. We tear the weight of the bucket. Obviously, on the end right now is the stock 40 degree. You see we have the weight, we zero out the weight, and now the only weight that matters is what's in the bucket. And here we go. All right, now first things first is I left it in kilograms. I need to put it in pounds. Hopefully this isn't zeroed out. There you go, 9.6 pounds. 9.60 divided by 8.34, 1.15 gallons per minute. It was exactly on the meter. So now we have the 2.5 test nozzle. So we're at 11.20 divided by 8.34, 1.34 gallons a minute. So we were at 1.29, 1.3 on the wall, and I said probably 135, 135. So who's this for? It is for sure not for car washing and car detailing as a focus. We know that. That is what the M Pro is for. And even around the house, every now and then, the M Pro has enough flow rate to get you the cleaning units you need to do stuff around the house. What I equate this to, this is a high-end Ryobi Greenworks 2100, right? For around the house, for cleaning the drywall. You saw how it did it on the concrete. It's going to give you that 2000 PSI at about 1.2 gallons per minute. But with a 2.5 nozzle to wash cars every now and then, you're gonna get about 1.3 gallons per minute at 1100 PSI. The Ryobis and Greenworks are gonna give you a little bit more, about 1.4-ish gallons per minute with a 2.5 or a 3.0. But what this is gonna give you is a better form factor. It's going to give you better build quality, 3 times the longevity at about 300 hours. The Ryobis Greenworks are about 100 hours. So you have all that going for you, plus all of the technology there. So there you go. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to check the links below for anything in the video. Check the discount code as well. High points, if you feel I deserve them, you can give them to me. If not, I'm about to show you a small creator that you can support. So here's a creator, not actually small creator. It has 200,000 subscribers. It's Auction Car Reconditioning. It's actually the original Apex Detail, one of the true OGs of the car washing, car detailing genre here. But on the comments, you can swipe to the left and then you see hype points. Hype up, we can give him 100 points. And in order for all this to work, the video has to have been uploaded in the last 7 days. The channel has to be monetized with YouTube and less than 500,000 subscribers. Please let me know in the comments more channels. I spend like a lot of time at the end of my video trying to find channels, but nobody posts in the last 7 days. Nobody posts. And I'm just trying to find channels to highlight, but I can't because the video doesn't have the ability to hype up. There you go. I'll see you in the next video. Now, if you watch my previous video on the, now if you watch my it's very technologically, it is very technologically, so it's a crankshaft. That's a 3/8, dumb shit. That's a 3/8. Dude, are you smoking dope? Man, you really need to organize this stuff because this is just... Who's texting me? Yeah, who is texting me? Oh my gosh. My wife texts me. Listen to this. Did you see the new Grinch meal at McDonald's that comes with a pair of socks and a bag to dump your fries in with pickle salt to shake? Gotta love her. Now I know I wasn't. Now I know I wasn't. Now I know it wasn't. Now I know I was. Now I know it wasn't. Don't forget the chick was. You know, that was blah, 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 blah. Now you might not mind. Now you might not mind. Blah. Golly, dude. Having issues? Freaking screwing on a lid? Damn, dude. What the?